So now for chapter 10, um, when Star and her mother are driving and they come upon a police blockade, her mother says everything's fine. And here Star tells us that her words used to have power, but after you've held two people as they took their last breath, words like that don't mean shit anymore. Um, so this kind of harkens back to the soft, soothing lies that her mother told her when Khalil was first killed. Um, the idea that everything was going to be okay. Um, and this is where Star kind of has that realization that that's not true. Your parents can't shield you from everything. Sometimes they don't know the answers or their words are fallible. And this represents kind of a true loss of innocence, right? Being comforted by one's mother is emblematic of childhood. So when you're no longer able to be comforted by her, it's as if this marks the end of childhood in a way. Okay, then when she's listening to Tupac with her dad, it's kind of like a continuation of the conversation she and Khalil had right before he died. This seems especially significant because it's as if they're picking up where Khalil left off, right? Since Khalil was killed before he could ever tell her any more. Star's father explains the hate part of thug life as being the cycle of oppression, right? The fact that there's a lack of opportunities that force people into drug dealing. And then addicts can't get jobs unless they're clean, but they can't afford rehab they need unless they have a job, right? So they can't get clean if they don't have the money to get clean. They can't have a job if they can't get clean. So basically explaining sort of the impossible cycle of that. He talks about how drugs get shuttled into vulnerable communities because it's a multi-million-dollar industry. Then people get arrested and fill the prisons because the prison system is also a multi-million-dollar industry. And then when people get out of jail, they can't get a good job because of their record, so they go back to selling drugs, and the cycle continues. Maverick also applies this cycle to the protests and the riots that are going on. 115 wasn't charged, just as hundreds of other officers have faced no consequences for similar actions. The result is riots, which are a form of destruction that makes life worse for everyone involved. So this is just a representation of how the hate given by the system, when it fails to serve justice, ends up hurting everyone as a result. Okay, and then this conversation with her dad kind of leads Star to a realization that this unjust cycle is the reason that people speak out and take action, and so she can't stay silent. And we see how conflicted this makes her dad when she tells him. It's easy to be convicted and principled when it doesn't directly affect you or the ones you love. We can all feel passionate about issues until we're faced with consequences as a result. But in the end, he concedes. He says, yeah, you can't be silent. His response is simple and terse, right? He's lacking the strong ideas and conviction that he had when it was simply theoretical. Okay, and then Devante comes into the store, and we learn that he's running from King. King wants Devante to kill the guy who killed Devante's brother, and Devante wants to get out of the King Lords. This is how we learn. This is how we learn Maverick's backstory. The fact that he took the fall for King and went to prison, and that's how he was able to get out of the King Lords. And Maverick says that he'll help Devante get out. He gives him a job at the store, lets him hide out at their house, and it's clear that he's trying to do right by Devante to compensate for Khalil, because it seems like he has this feeling like he couldn't save Khalil in time. So then Star's mom feels like what is happening with Devante endangers the family, but Maverick says that he needs to help Devante get out of Garden Heights, which of course Lisa calls him out on. Basically the idea, why is it okay for Devante to get out, but not Maverick's own family? And she makes it clear that she's going to leave Garden Heights with or without Maverick. And this makes Star wonder if they'll break up, right? She says, it'll be one more thing 115 takes from me. So basically the idea of the ripple effects of what Khalil's death and what, 115's murder of Khalil, kind of the ripple effects that will have on Star's life.